Let me pull up my list so I don't fuck this up. Hopefully this loads. I'm going to tell Fernando to cut this part out. And because I just said that, he probably won't.
Do you want me to go through it? I have it in front of me.
All right, I just pulled it up. I'm good. Sup Nerds, and welcome to Powerful, a Power Metal podcast. My name is Kyle, and I am joined today by a very special guest. Once again, I am joined by my friend Alice of Rage Badger Gaming. Welcome, Alice.
Hey there, glad to be on again.
And we are here to discuss the big festival. It's ProgPower USA from 2023. We got back from our yearly journey to Atlanta, the big festival for bringing European and other bands to America for the prog and power metal scenes. How are you feeling about the fest so far?
I'm actually a pretty big fan of it. Because I think there's a lot of the bands they pull in that I just never get to see anyway. So, I mean, outside of it being Atlanta and like sweating all the time,
right.
You know, that's like the only thing. I really like it, although it is pretty pricey though.
Yeah, I think because they keep it like intentionally small while still having to pay expensive like fees and stuff. Each ticket has to be more. So I guess the benefit of that is you do get like the extra like exclusive-ish shows, like bands you might not have ever had a chance to see. They do like the signing sessions. Each band gets at least an hour-long set, which after like other festivals, which are usually like shorter for the opening bands, it's cool to see everyone get like a decent chunk of time.
I'm pretty excited, like, actually to see some of those bands like I hadn't seen before or heard of, and then giving them like an hour set actually I think really helps, because I've definitely been on tours where like the opening band I'm like, oh, this is cool, and then after like 30 minutes I'm like, oh, that was it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's just kick things off then. So you weren't at day one. I was the only one of us there. Mm-hmm. So I'll go through each of these. We started off with the Reticent, a very depressing prog metal band. I'll say this is probably the heaviest metal show I've ever been to. Not in terms of music or genre, but in terms of subject matter. So this is literally opening the whole festival. They have a video going throughout their entire set, and it has like stuff in between songs. The beginning of which is about suicide statistics. Then they have stuff about like dementia, which so they have a very serious set, a very dark, somber mood kicking things off, which they do a good job. I was just very caught off guard by this as I was walking into like, all right, festival time, let's go, power metal, rah! And then being slapped in the face with the cold, hard reality. That
does seem like definitely a bit of a shock there, comparing like, you know, stuff we see in day two, like Beast in Black to that.
Yeah, it made me think back to the first time I went to ProgPower, where the opening band was Ross the Boss, which is just very different vibe. The set, or towards the end of the set, the main guy had this like very powerful like screaming like "let me out" as this like footage of like an old guy with dementia is happening. They dedicated the set to his dad, who I think had dementia, which made it all, you know, made sense. Like, this is clearly very personal music to them, and I definitely respect that. They had a little bit, I've never seen this happen. ProgPower had extra time. They started early. And so after their set, they covered the guy's dad's favorite song, which was Losing My Religion by REM, which was a nice little extra touch. No other band was was before or was started early. Everything else after that was not on time. But what are you going to do? It's ProgPower.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check them out now, though. That sounds that definitely sounds up my alley. I love depressing prog.
If you're into depressing prog, big recommend. Just make sure you're in the right headspace, I guess, for this. Then moving on was Elvenking. So this is like the band that I wanted to see on day one. It's definitely the most power metal of all of them. I feel like it's sometimes a hot take to say I like some Elvenking, but I think they're very fun. I like their sort of like folk punk power metal attitude they've got going on. And they put on a very exciting set. They have a lot of energy. Their frontman Damna is always just like jumping around the stage, getting people going. I always love folk metal shows because they have like the extra fun instruments that are just kind of non-standard. So like they have a violinist, for example, just kind of adds like an extra layer to the show. They played quite a few songs off their newer album. They also played like 3 or 4 songs off of Pagan Manifesto, which is one of my favorite albums from them. And they played like all the bangers from that, like the fun sing-along ones, which was definitely, I think, a fun change of pace from the very depressing Reticent show. More of kind of what I was expecting. Maybe they would have been a better one to open the show.
Yeah.
This was not their first time playing the US. They, I guess, had played ProgPower like 15 years ago. So it's not a debut, but it's very much like in a very exclusive show for Elvenking to be doing this, which is a big reason why I wanted to, because I'm like, well, I'm probably never going to see them. And I do like some of their music. So I'm glad I got to take part in that.
That was one of the ones I was considering day one for. Not necessarily, I mean, there was actually at a time literally this year where I was like, man, this sounds like Elvenking if Elvenking was good, but it was just their new album.
Yeah, they have, the new album has some good stuff on it. Yeah,
and I actually, some stuff came on radio because they always think I'd like it. But there is several, I don't know, at least 3 songs off of Pagan Manifesto that really stick out to me. So, like, I definitely, like, I'm into that in the new album. So it honestly sounds like I would have really enjoyed their set. So I'm kind of sad that I missed it.
Yeah, I think this was, like, the main one to look out for. They had replaced Power Quest when they, like, did their early retirement, skipping all the festivals we booked thing, which was very sad. So, well, at least I got to see one other like pretty exclusive band for this.
For sure.
All right, then next up was Cynic, and this might be the like proggiest band that's ever progged that I've seen at this festival. Like, these guys, their music does not have a semblance of structure. They have never heard a chorus in their fucking lives. Like, they're just gonna noodle away and you're gonna like it. Okay. So it's not really the style of prog I'm into. From a performance standpoint, they like them and the Reticent both had like this style of stage lighting, or I guess lack thereof, where their guys are pretty much never actually lit. They're always in shadow. So there isn't much actual like performance or connecting with the musicians going on. They're just kind of doing their thing, which not really my style of show. I can appreciate the atmosphere that they're going for, but what wasn't my favorite band. I made many jokes about, the cynic in me thinks because I'm just that clever. But if you're into the super proggy stuff, I think Cynic would be very good for that. All right, next up was Swallow the Sun, a more like mellow, deathy, proggy band, I guess. I skipped them to go to dinner. We went to Margaritaville to celebrate the late, great Jimmy Buffett, dedicated to Eddie Burback, I guess. Their margaritas were solid. Their burgers were not.
It's accurate summing up of the experience.
Pretty much. So, hey, recommend the Margaritaville margaritas in downtown Atlanta. Or there's like a Waffle House across the street if you want better, more reasonably priced food. All right, and then wrapping up the day was Doro, the by default Queen of Metal. I missed the first half of her set, but I got back after Margaritaville for the second half. And I gotta say, we were kind of dunking on Doro because, like, oh, it's boring and old people, but they had a lot of energy. And after like the proggy nonsense of Cynic, I really appreciated the like overt straightforwardness of Doro's set. Like, I was very well set up to just kind of be in the mood for it. So I'm glad I got back to see Doro's set here.
Yeah, I think I've never actually seen her before, so I definitely would have if I had a day one ticket. So that sounds like a really fun set just in general. I think a lot of her stuff is kind of old school, basic vibe versus, obviously some of the stuff, especially the previous acts you saw that day.
Yeah, definitely, because there's really no gimmick to it, other than just being like, this is a metal show. And like they have her like catchy "All We Are" song that they repeat for a very, very long time, almost like it's sort of like the like Blind Guardian Valhalla thing. She does like a cover of "Breaking the Law," which is it's just easy to get into. It's good, clean, heavy metal living. As I talk about breaking the law.
some good / easy listening. As much as I like listening to like VOLA or something, sometimes you need a palate cleanser.
Yeah, definitely. And that was exactly what worked well for this. So thank you, Doro. All right, then day 2, I guess I'll mention, so a big part of ProgPower is always the after party at the Artmore across the street. Now, that hotel is closed for renovations this year. So everyone's like, oh my God, what the fuck are we going to do without the Artmore? That's like the whole reason I go to the fest. Well, so this year was a little fast and loose with the after parties. Other hotels in the area would have like a smaller outdoor courtyard where people would be hanging out till late at night. Or if you socialize a bit, you might find a guy who just stocked up his hotel room with alcohol, and you can go hang out there for a while. So shout out to Keith and his large amount of alcohol that he stockpiled for us. So then next we have day 2. This one kicked off with the band I cannot seem to get away from this year, and that being Seven Kingdoms. This was the 4th time I've seen Seven Kingdoms this year alone, as they've done like every tour and every festival. But I'm glad they're doing well and keeping busy. They work this festival. Like Camden does like stage stuff. I've seen Sabrina like selling merch for stuff before. So like this is very much like a thing they've been involved with for a long time. And they played here during I don't think they even called it day 1 or day 2 back then. It was like in 2010. So like they've sort of played ProgPower before, but this was their first time doing it like properly, I guess.
Yeah.
So after seeing them getting to finally do this, I think was very gratifying. Yeah,
for sure. And I have seen Seven Kingdoms a few times too, so I wasn't like, oh no, floor me. I did miss. They didn't play my favorite song, but they had a pretty solid set. They leaned a little bit on the new album, which is just not surprising.
Right.
You always see Cam and Sabrina at these things. I saw Cam do stuff, was all over the place for sound stuff last year.
Yeah. I wish their set this year hadn't cut a couple of their best songs like Stargazer or the Boys of Summer cover for stuff on the new album. I get it, but it's I feel like I just wish they balanced out a little more.
Yeah, give me Stargazer. I would have been super happy if they
did.
It was still a good set, but it could have been a great set.
Yeah, one of the things I really appreciate about Seven Kingdoms is how involved their guitarists are with interacting and hyping up the crowd. They don't just stand there and let the singer do everything like a lot of bands do. So that really is appreciated.
They universally have very good stage presence between the few of them. It's nice.
I think having them be as a husband and wife and then 2 brothers just kind of gives the band a very tight knit feeling. It's
I didn't know that.
Oh, well, there you go.
You learn something every day.
At least I'm pretty sure that. Hopefully that's not fake news.
You can just make it up if it is.
All right, I am totally right. All right, then after Seven Kingdoms, we had 0 Hour. Now, this was the dad prog band, if I remember correctly, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it was.
They had a guy in business casual as he's playing this, and then had every other crowd say hi to his daughter. So it's literal dad prog. I thought it was funny, but they did a good job. They were charming.
Yeah, I don't think I have a lot to say about them. I enjoyed what they did, but it wasn't particularly standout.
Mm-hmm.
I think ultimately they're definitely one of the bands that they wouldn't. This is not something that would pull me back in the future, but it wasn't a poor performance. I liked it. I stayed through the whole set too.
Yeah, I mean, none of the bands here do bad performances. If we don't like something, it's just it's less of our style.
Mm-hmm.
And the fest itself usually balances or at least tries to balance the prog and the power, and it will usually go back and forth. So you're not going to be super hype 2 bands in a row. Usually you can kind of pace yourself. This is what my 4th ProgPower. I feel this year I did the best job keeping myself alive compared to previous years. Which, hey, it's important to learn things in life, right?
Yeah, just slightly. Yeah, that definitely I took way more sit down sets than you did, but old.
Yeah, still old. I mean, you're what 6-7 years older than me? 8, I don't know, 9, I don't know.
It's probably 8 or 9, I think.
Okay, well, I'll just keep increasing the number until we hit it.
Just keep going up by 1.
All right, I'll get there eventually. All right, next up was the Halo Effect, which, to my disappointment, was not a crossover band between Halo and Mass Effect, which would be really fucking rad. So if any real musicians listening to this want to have a great idea for a band, you're welcome. But anyway, they're a mellow death band. Not really any prog or power about it. They just go, they're going hard, they're going in. And I really had a good time with this set. They were very intense, especially after the dad prog. I thought it was a really great set, and I loved this one.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't fit really the ProgPower theme, but
who cares?
I mean, yeah, they're pulling stuff like Amorphis, which is they've got some proggy stuff, but they're definitely more to. I mean, I guess they do have some prog stuff, but regardless, Halo Effect definitely didn't seem very prog metal at all, and there definitely weren't power, but they brought something unique, and it was a good shift between all these, especially with some of the more powery stuff. Although I guess we went right into prog after this, but I think they did a really good job. I really enjoyed them. I bookmarked a couple of things to listen to after this, so that was they stand out to me.
Yeah, I had never really listened to them before this, but I had heard they're good, so I'm like, all right, I'm looking forward to this. And then it's always nice when it's just like, all right, I have no idea who the fuck these guys are, and then they blow you away like that. I think they were the first bands that at least of the ones that I saw that had a proper pit going, which you don't get a whole lot of pitting at ProgPower with the we'll say older demographic and just the endurance battle that is ProgPower. You don't usually get people blowing it there.
It literally surprised me that I didn't realize until this band and the next that I'm like, oh yeah, pits exist. They weren't even a thing. I don't think I saw Seven Kingdoms or was it 0 Hour have any.
Yeah, and I've seen Seven Kingdoms have pits before. I think at Mad with Power, the first one of the times I saw them there. But different vibe going on, and that's a shorter festival.
Mm-hmm.
After the Halo Effect, we had VOLA in all caps, I think.
Yes.
So this was an odd set. This was interesting. It's like prog, but like a genty techno-y prog. They have 5 keyboards going on, which I always appreciate the real keyboards at these sets, as we foreshadowing here. But even the bassist had one that he would stroll over and mess with.
Yeah, it's Vola's. I've seen them once before, but I'm a big fan, and it's not I don't know. There's definitely a brand of prog that I think we've gotten a little used to. I guess stuff that's start to split out from Dream Theater or even some of the older prog groups, and this definitely brings it to this other approach where some of the songs clearly, these Black Claws or 24 Light Years, are not really metal, but at the same time you have a lot of the stuff like Head Mounted Sideways and Stray the Skies, which actually got a pit. I think, and this is weird because I was trying to watch through the whole thing, I think VOLA actually had the biggest pit in the festival, which should not.
Did they?
That just worse. Yeah, that was because I was watching, and it was I don't know how this song. I mean, that song out of all theirs makes sense, but I was trying to keep an eye on it, and if there were some close contenders, so for sure. I think UTA had one that was significant, and I honestly can't remember the song. I was a little tired at the time, but we'll get into that later. Mm-hmm. It was just weird. It wasn't necessarily that VOLA was intense. This festival just had fewer pits than what I'd seen. The Strato pit blew me away last year.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I think Strato being only day 2, so people aren't dead yet, and being one of the more up-tempo bands, then just merely sold people more on that.
But yeah, no, I loved VOLA's set. I love their vocalist, and I'm notably more into their music than you are, which is perfectly fine.
I liked the extra lighting setup they had on stage, kind of adding this almost rave quality to it.
It definitely adds a lot to the atmosphere.
Yeah, so very, very cool band, I would say, even if I had to use them as a rest band. Before our headliner of Beast in Black, or as I made fun of them, I called them Beast in Backing Track.
Yep.
So this became our thing through the rest of the fest, and every band or most bands will use a backing track either for just making the things that they're doing sound bigger, or to do the things that just aren't feasible to do live. Or I have to say it's a full orchestra type deal or whatever. Whereas Beast in Black, it's just they could just get a fucking keyboard player, because that is the whole song. That's the main melody. That is everything. Oh my god, it did It did distract me a bit.
I think the thing that distracted me the most wasn't necessarily. I mean, first off, like the fact that obviously they have a lot of the melody, it's definitely the keyboards provide the keyboard and vocals provide the melody, and the guitars just support it. So then you've got these three guys that are just strumming away, and they just had crunch and texture to the song, but not usually any melody except for like, hey, we're doing a guitar solo. But a lot of it comes out of the backing track, and then also the vocals, which was too much backing track. I know that there were some times where Yanis was like, hey, pointing at like, oh, we got a great like backup singer in that, whatever, which guitarist it was. But
I think it was Anton.
Yeah. And all I'm thinking is like, sure. I mean, I'm not saying that he can't sing, but all I'm hearing, and maybe it was a sound problem, was just the lead vocals of Yanis on the album being piped into the speakers. And I'm like,
right,
cool. That took me out of the show. Now, don't get me wrong. This was a super fun. I was it was my like maybe like one of it was on the upper half of the bands of this, so it was good. I enjoyed it, but it was just it was annoyed being taken out several times when Yanis decides I'm gonna walk around the stage and strut instead of like sing some of these parts on the chorus.
Yeah, I don't know if they were expecting the crowd to sing more than they did. I mean, obviously they do during like the chorus bits that everyone knows, but he's definitely like just stops singing more than he should for being a very good singer. Like I want to hear you, bro.
Yeah, and he did amazing. So like that was I'm not like, oh no, the blah 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 singing. No, when he did sing, which was still like he did like all the verses at least, so he wasn't like bailing out. But it was weird during some of the choruses when he just like walked around, and I'm like, no, I want to hear you. I don't want to hear the studio of this. I'm glad like during Blind and Frozen, he actually didn't bail on any of the notes. So
yeah, and like he does a lot of like the big like screams too.
Oh yeah, and he doesn't like turn those screams down to a lower octave. He does them at octave, and he does them well, and I love that. That was great. So it was still enjoyable, and they did play like all their hits, although their hits are all fairly samey.
It can be a little samey, but I'm glad they do pretty much their best songs. The guitar parts are, we'll say, not the most demanding in their music, which in a way does kind of free up the guitarist to put on more of a show and just like fuck around more, which is fun and does kind of help the whole like party atmosphere of the whole thing.
Yeah, they had very good stage presence.
Right.
Very good stage presence, good vocalist. I mean, it's solid.
Very good stage presence, including the like disembodied cyberpunk titty ladies in like tanks.
Goodness.
Because why not? I guess.
I really don't get that.
It's I think it's just what it says on the tin. I don't think you're supposed to think too hard about it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But overall, like, I mean, we complain about like the backing track, but it is a very fun show. Like, I was excited to see Peace of Black. I'm definitely glad I got to see them and, sing Blind and Frozen and whatever at these guys. Yeah,
I mean, despite all my complaints, it was like, oh, do you have a lot of complaints about it? Yeah, so you hated it? No, it was great.
Hey, we complain because we care.
Mm-hmm.
That'll launch us into day 3. This opened up with the Cryptex. So this is a band that I hadn't really listened to any of their stuff beforehand. I think they're like a prog band, but we got there and I was very, very surprised by this band. This was my like dark horse, like, oh my god, I actually kind of love this band. Did
you hear this? Did you hear the story about how the or were you the one that told me about?
I shared it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, that was you. Okay, I was like, wait. I think that was you. So yeah, I can't believe how stressful that would have been just to get them here.
Yeah. So
that was awful.
To explain that, so I think it was like yesterday. They posted on Facebook like just how hard it was to get the Cryptex here. So they were flying in. They're like German or whatever, but they flew into Atlanta from New York. But they had like flight delays and like had to rebook and things weren't coming through. And it was just like, it became this huge fucking mess of where like by the time the band got to the venue and like did a quick sound check or just like plugged their things in, they were like 10 minutes before their set start time and had been like up for like 36 hours with no sleep. And they still went and played a phenomenal set where I had no idea that they had just gone through this tremendous ordeal to even get to the fucking venue. And then became like one of my favorite shows of the show. Like, it's prog, but it was like this. What was it, like a upbeat, like a show tunes kind of prog. Like the main guy's like know. Playing piano like all crazy all while he's doing this. It kind of gave me like David DeFay vibes from Virgin Steel, the way he would like wail on piano and do like the ooh type stuff. So he was just so charming, had so much energy, just despite the circumstances.
No, I 1,000%. I think what really started to stand out is I almost think like it has that like opera. What's that like Meatloaf kind of like weird, strange, dramatic vibe combined with progginess. Combined, it was not what I expected. I listened to like 1 or 2 tracks like maybe a year ago, and I'm like, oh, I'll get back to this eventually, and I never did. But then when we got to the set, I'm like, why was I skipping out of it? Like this was one of the. I mean, honestly, I enjoyed that more than anything I heard on day 2, and I was just so I was like, oh, why was I avoid? Why I could not explain, because that show sold it. I even was like, and I forgot to because I got distracted. But I was like, I need to go buy something from them. So I'm gonna find some other way to like support them, like get something or something like that. But they put on a phenomenal set. And it had, the songs had diversity, and they were just had a different soundscape from what I was used to.
Yeah, I love the bit where they mentioned they have a new album coming out in just like a few weeks, but they brought like a few early copies of it, like much to the like record company's chagrin. He's like, oh, fuck the record company, which anyone can get behind, I'm sure.
Yeah.
At the end of the set, the guy went and like smashed their microphone stand, which I was all like shocked by. I'm like, oh, did he get permission to do that? But then after hearing the story of how they got there, I'm like, all right, yeah, he fucking earned that.
Yeah. Oh man, that must have been exhausting. And to put on such a good set while exhausted, phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't tell. All right. Speaking of beasts, which was funny because the Cryptex like logo or their album art had a lion on it. So going from Beast in Black to the Cryptex and then to Battle Beast, a lot of lions going on here.
It's definitely a theme.
Yeah, and it was really cool to see, or I guess interesting to see Battle Beast so soon after Beast in Black. Good thing they're on separate days, or else maybe there would have been some fights going on. But I adore Battle Beast show. Like I've seen them open for bands before on other tours, and I think they've just gotten better. Like their stage presence, especially Nora, is just fantastic.
I remember the first time I saw them, which is opening for Camelot, shocking. But they did such a good job that time, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll go check them out, because I'd heard them before, but I'm like, this is kind of catchy, dancey, but performing live, I'm like, oh man, I need to move. And so ProgPower at Circus of Doom, which I felt like their most recent release, that is. I felt like this actually feels like not just, oh, this will be fun live. This is good. This is fun, to use the F word.
Oh,
but like this is actually good substance too, and I really enjoyed it. And then of course they had like, was it Wings of Light? When I heard it live, I'm like, this is just good stuff. This isn't even like, this is good for dance live. This is good. It was just solid. Her vocal performance also nailed it without like skipping out and like relying too much on the backtrack. She puts on a big performance. She sang the whole time. She did such a great job. And the rest of the band did such amazingness too. They relied less on the backing track, although they clearly do use a bit of it.
They actually have like a guitar guy on stage the whole time though.
That adds, yes, and that adds more.
Guitars always make you cooler. Remember that.
Guitar, 1,000%. If you have a guitar, people go, "Wow, that person's hot." It levels your hotness up. At least that's what I was told.
Pretty much, yeah.
But no, it was wonderful. I would absolutely see them again. If I'd never seen them before, this would have sold me.
Oh yeah, I don't know how you can like watch a set like that and like be like cynical and like, cause it really is so much fun. As much as we can't say the F word here, but man, if I had to give like one criticism for their set, it would be that their music can be very like samey in terms of like style and rhythm, where like every single song goes like dun 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 dun, and it's like you do the punching in the haze, and like it's all fun and it's all good, but it just doesn't like evolve much when they like have like this like prelude or like dramatic setup for a song, and then the song that comes on sounds very similar to the one you just heard. And the three before it, it's like, and like they have faster, more power metal-y songs. They just don't usually choose to play them live. They'll do like one. It's like they just did like a little bit more because they have those songs. I would be much more into that.
Yeah, I think the word put is I think definitely some variety. Even if they brought out first off some of the more power metal with like the kicks and stuff, and then also some of the stuff with the bring up one of the ballads.
Okay, you're out of line.
I'm sorry. I would love to see Nora do a ballad.
Well, we can agree to disagree.
Perfectly fine.
Because I think doing a ballad would just like kill the momentum of their show. If they had like more time on a headlining set, maybe.
Oh yeah, probably that. I mean, maybe for like an opener, don't have the time for it. But no, it was good. I love this. This is fantastic.
Yeah, if they ever do like a proper headlining tour of the U.S., I think I'd make a point to go see them.
I would 100%.
All right, that'll bring us into Ad Infinitum, the a band that exists. We went into the Bonnieverse here. We finally did it. I was with how much like Melissa Bonnie has been pushed by like Napalm Records. I'm like, oh, I guess it'll be good to see her. I think this was their actual U.S. debut for Ad Infinitum, which definitely always helps making it special. I don't much care for Ad Infinitum's music. I'm sorry to say. Melissa Bonnie was fine.
Yeah, the first song was pretty rough. I did notice this is the only thing that really caught my attention is I noticed her like constantly moving her hand. I think she couldn't hear herself in her headset during did they open with Marching on Versailles?
Maybe. I don't know their songs.
Anyway, I was like,
I'll just say yes, they definitely did. Whatever you just said, I agree. You are right.
I liked the first song, but it wasn't done well. But then they got the sound out. So whatever it was, I was like, oh man, she is not good. I just don't think she could hear herself because the next few songs she sounded good. She was back to form. But unfortunately, there's not a lot of songs about them I like, and I got so bored in the next three songs that I'm like, dude, that's when we decided to bail. And I was like, oh, because like I've heard them before. I listened to them, like this is cool. This is cool. Maybe it would be good live. But actually, I don't know. They didn't have the energy. I wasn't into the songs. It was performed well. Like there wasn't anything after they got through whatever that technical issue is on song one. And I know Rachel also heard it, but like all I'm like is like, whew. I just don't want to be here. And that was a little upsetting. But not like out of like, ouch, this is painful. I checked out.
Yeah, we went beyond the Bonnieverse then and went and got wine at a hotel.
Yep. It was good.
So yeah, hey.
The wine was great.
The free wine was great.
Would do it again.
Yeah, we did do it again.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we went a couple times. So it's good.
All right. Well, I'm just happy I can say that I've seen them live. So, yay.
For sure.
All right. That brings us into Green Carnation. What in Tarnation is Green Carnation?
Green Carnation. They're actually, this is one I was pretty hyped for because I do listen to Green Carnation. But like when I first initially checked them out, I listened to some of the stuff from like some acoustic verses after Jake from Ravenous actually suggested that I check this out. And then people were memeing on the hour-long song because they have... I actually took me a minute to find it because it wasn't in their albums because Spotify classifies it as a single.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's one song.
Yeah, it's one song. It's just like 60 minutes and some seconds. But so I checked that out. And after the first listen, I'm like, this is actually really good. So I listened to it again and I'm like, okay. And that's when I checked out Leaves of Yesteryear, and they leaned heavily on that, including the track they opened with, like My Dark Reflections on Life and Death, which is actually an old song off their debut, but they redid it on their newest album that they released a few years ago. With the stuff, it sounds new. Anyway, that one hooked me. They leaned heavily on that. Did a couple other songs though, and their set was, I think, having no backing track, relying on all these like 6 musicians there to put everything in, getting 3 vocalists to make sure they have the vocal complexity to not have a backing track, but still have harmonies and like layered octaves. I think it's just this atmospheric proggy stuff. I thought they would be good, but instead they were amazing. I almost started crying. I think I did actually. I seriously did. Yeah, I got so into it. They have a lot of like very emotional pieces. Like I know like that Our Song. I'm not 100% sure on the lyrics, but it really does sound like coping with loss or something along grieving or like dealing with something. It's super depressing, but like I feel it and I get into these emotional spaces. They take me completely out from where I am and into other places. And I think for a musician to do that, that's stellar. And to hear them live, I'm like, this blew me away. It was my favorite performance up to this point. And it only like a couple bands, I think, rivaled them for me personally after this point. So this was just, they were in the top 3. I 100%, if they ever come to the US again, I will not miss a show by them.
Yeah, out of just like raw like musicianship, I think this was probably one of the best sets that we had going on.
Yeah, and if you like emotional music, that's not just like yay, fun, but like actually like in the soul. That this is 1,000% one of the best ones of that vibe I've ever seen. And I'm old. I've seen a lot of shows.
Indeed. Yeah, this band is less my style. I prefer the more like upbeat, exciting stuff, but I still definitely appreciated what all they had going on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's ride this horse down onto Caligula. That's Caligula's horse, that is. as our mates from Straya came back, we had just seen them at ProgPower 2019. At that show, we're like, wow, these guys are really awesome. And they're like, we're going to tour the US next year. And it's like, oh, you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we were so naive back then, 2019.
The good old days, right?
I'm actually sad because I was attempting to roll a deck save versus Hurricanes. I got so exhausted by the time Caligula's horse performed back in 2019 that I couldn't get there until like 5 o'clock because I was just so tired from like partying 3 nights in a row and not getting any sleep before. This just in, if you go to ProgPower, get some sleep the night before.
Yes.
Because I had about 30 minutes of sleep and then an 8-hour drive. And then the second band of day 1 started after I got someone pick me up from the airport.
Yeah.
I had nothing. So I missed them the first time. So this was actually my first time seeing them.
Oh, well, how did you feel seeing them for the first time now?
They're fantastic. They had such a loaded set list, too. I was very happy that they played, like, Graves, Salt. They had a few from the new album, which I think is pretty good. I like Bloom and In Contact more. I don't think Rise Radiant is, I consider, a good album, whereas I considered Bloom and In Contact to be great albums. But still, we had a pretty good mix. Graves is just so powerful, and plus it's like, what, 12 minutes or something?
Yeah, when it's like, oh, we got like 2 songs left, but it's like half an hour.
Yeah.
Their set is so varied. Like, they'll have like the like sing-alongy stuff. They'll have the like intense like shredding stuff. They'll have the slower emotional stuff. They really bring a lot to their performance. I very much enjoy seeing these guys. They're one of the like the prog bands to get the prog pit going on. Similar to like VOLA did. Their frontman Jim is like so charming and so like sincere in his between the set like banter sections.
And he's so hot.
Yeah, he's a very good looking guy. That motherfucker.
I love that stupid heckler, and then him and his Australian, and he pointing at the guy like, "Shut the fuck up!" And I was like, "Oh my god!"
without missing a beat and just like beating the shit out of this guy verbally, and then nobody else fucked with him after that.
Yeah. Oh, it was wonderful. Like, thank you for dealing with that heckler so effectively. And then because he was like trying to set up an emotional song, and you could see he's like doing that, then boom. And like his eyes lit up, everything, and then back to normal. I'm like, wow, this dude can like really. He had a lot of control. His stage presence is great. Setting up songs and explaining some of them was just it was good because I don't like pay a lot of attention to lyrics. I think I have a reputation for that, but yeah, No, it was really great.
Yeah, I am so stoked that they're gonna try again to do a US tour next year. Hopefully that works out and we don't explode the world again.
Yeah, I'll definitely see them. 100% seeing them again. So if they tour, I'm there.
Yeah, so definitely they're a band to check out. And they hung out at the after party later, which I guess we'll talk about a bit later. All right, then we have the headliner for day 3, which in this case was Camelot, our big power metal band of the festival here. So I've seen Camelot a couple times before. My hype for like this performance was like contingent on how good the album that comes out this year is going to be. The album this year, The Awakening, I'd say much better than The Shadow Theory. So I'm like, all right, I am excited to see Camelot this year. And I think they put on like a phenomenal show. Like Tommy is such a powerful vocalist, has such great stage presence. They like have a lot of exciting songs. They do a pretty good pick of their set list, like bringing in like classic old songs and like the better of the new songs, I would say.
Yeah, they did play like 2 songs. I'm like you said, I'm not a fan of Shadow Theory, but they played Vespertine and they played one other song. Was it Phantom Divide?
Phantom Divide, yeah. Which is
not
like
a big
which
fan
is
of it,
that
but
one,
it's fine.
It's worse Liar Liar, but it's fine.
Yeah, worse Liar Liar. That's an accurate description. This is my was my 7th time seeing Camelot.
Oh shit.
Yeah, 4th time with Tommy, 3 times with Con. Because I've been a fan for
Oh god.
Yeah, 3 times with Con. I think evidently not everyone could say that.
No.
But no, it was wonderful. They don't ever, I mean, outside of like that technical issue, when you see Thomas, who got so angry without showing I will call it professional angry.
Professionally angry, yeah.
Professionally, and then like, is this shit fixed? Good. And then a smile like, it better be, but like at the same time, I'm like, whew. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
To explain that, so the sound quality and like sound setup had mostly been pretty good throughout ProgPower. Normally, I've seen worse technical issues throughout the fest. It was pretty consistent this time. Beast in Black had a couple issues where like the sound would cut out for like a second and then it would come back. But Camelot had a tough time where during The Lights Are Down, like the sound cut out for like a minute. Like, luckily, the crowd can just like sing along to that song, so they know it.
It was like during one part of the chorus and then into the guitar solo. And because everyone knew When the Lights Are Down, it didn't feel like a hiccup. Whereas like no one knew Night Sky.
Yeah, it's one of the new songs, so it's like people don't know that one. And when it cuts out, it's just super awkward. As like, yeah, because like you can hear the drums because it's just sound of things hitting other things, but then like you don't hear the guitars. Like they keep playing like just in case it comes back, but it's like it's really awkward. And when that song finished, Youngblood takes the mic from Karavik, and it's just like, "Hey, you guys good back there?" And it's like he's not wrong to be pissed off. I think because it's like yeah,
absolutely in the right. But despite the sound issues and stuff, and they did have Melissa Bonney come in to sing for some of the songs.
A very sparkly Melissa Bonney.
Very sparkly. It was a very, very hot outfit. She's very attractive as well.
So it goes.
Yes. But they nailed it. There's so many songs that I love. I think the only personal critique is they played nothing from Epica, but it was good to see them like dip into like they touched like 2 songs from Karma. I think they did the title track from Karma, which I didn't think they did anymore. Yeah, 2 songs from Karma. They did a couple songs from Black Halo. They touched on Ghost Opera. I don't think they did get Poetry. No, we didn't get anything from Poetry. But then we got some songs from Haven and Silverthorn and from Shadow Theory and their new album. So, like, that's it was just a really good spread. I would have pulled, and if they did only do 1 track from Epica, it has to be Center of the Universe.
Yeah, like please play that song, you cowards.
Yes, but that's 100% what I would like. Really, the only thing is like drop what Phantom Divine for Center of the Universe. But even then, we're nitpicking the fact that so did you like the set? Yeah, great, I loved it.
Yeah, I love the set
so
too.
Good. He's so good and emotional during any of these. And I know him like lofting himself into the falsetto on the high notes, and he has a beautiful voice and he's a beautiful person.
Yeah, like I've seen him a few times now, and like he's probably one of my favorite like vocalists to see live because he just sounds so good. He's so good at just like controlling the crowd, and yeah, he ain't bad to look at either.
Yeah, my Eldo, I love Camelot. My favorite Karavik performance has not been on a Camelot tour.
Seventh Wonder.
But it was actually ProgPower 4 years ago when he did Tears for a Father from Mercy Falls.
Mm-hmm.
Now, first off, that whole set was amazing. But
yes.
hearing him do Tears from a Father live, Tears for a Father. I'm bad with song names sometimes, but oh my goodness, he laid out everything he can do, and I mean, I cried, but I was just, I mean, did everyone? I don't know, maybe I'm in that, but anyway, it was beautiful, and Tommy always brings it. Love him.
Yeah, so good job, Camelot. You didn't ruin yourselves after Shadow Theory. You're still good.
Still amazing.
Still
Loved
very
it.
good. All right. That brings us into Poverty's No Crime, and also is missing the first half of their set because you're very tired at this point.
Yeah. The start of day 4, exhausted, and
yeah.
I think we got in like I think it was like 25
half an hour late
minutes
or
into
something.
their set or something like that.
Because and I had been up stupid late the night before because after night 3 is when they had the like quote unquote official after party. The vinyl loft club or whatever it's called, like above center stage, they had like their official after party there. But rather, I didn't really enjoy the vibe of the official after party because it was like a nightclub, so they didn't have air conditioning either, so it was hot and stale and loud and with overpriced drinks. So it's not really like the cool chill vibe from the Artmore. Like it worked as like having a place for people to go and hang out and do stuff, but they were also kind of splintered off into the like smaller hotel parties as well, which is where I went off to, just hanging out with random people, getting drinks with folks. Caligula's horse showed up, hung out with them for a while. It's super nice guys. They taught us the proper ways to call someone a cunt. Thank you, Australian cultural lessons. We're really bridging the gap here. So if you get a chance to hang out with them, definitely take it. I hung out with the singer and the drummer. Were the guys that I was hanging out with. I stayed out super late. I felt like I didn't go to bed till like 5 a.m., which is the like ProgPower way, I guess, when you are properly out partying, which then just means like you're super tired the next day. Oh god, because remember, ProgPower is a marathon and not a sprint. But like I felt like each day I kept like staying out later and like pushing myself a bit more. And then by the time day 4 comes, it's like, okay, I'm gonna stand for 2 of these bands and that's it.
Yeah, I had the problem where after we were done, I'm like, I'm just so exhausted. I didn't want to. I didn't actually want to party most nights. So, but then like it takes me a while to unwind. So by the time I was like going to sleep, it was still, it's not super late, but it was like between 1 to 3 a.m. every day.
Yeah, like if you're not a night person, like the festivals like this, I think will be a struggle.
For sure.
All right, well that brings us into Poverty's No Crime. I admit I don't remember much about their set. I was still like half asleep when this happened. They were fine.
I'm kind of the same way. I don't think they were especially memorable, but they weren't necessarily bad.
But hey, shout out to like all the restaurants we went to at ProgPower this year.
Yeah.
Hey, the Vortex, some great burgers and great atmosphere.
That was delicious.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. The South City Kitchen was like the upscale Southern food. That was phenomenal.
That was the best place we went.
Yeah, and then there's the Farm Burger over by Whole Foods. Shout out Whole Foods in Midtown. They're always they're kind of an old reliable at this point. Shout out to the caterers at the venue this year. I thought were really good. They had
they leveled that up. That was, I remember 2019, and it's just like crappy pizza, And this time, all of them, I mean, even the pizza there didn't feel like crappy pizza, and all the other stuff. There's good variety. It's delicious.
Yeah, they had this like Southern Mexican Korean fusion place that was really good. I very much enjoyed like the quesadilla and like the chicken and rice or whatever that we got from that.
Yeah, that was good.
The one of the issue I had with ProgPower this year is I think having this in such proximity to Mad with Power, like it's like literally like 2 weeks apart, really made me compare and contrast like the two festivals, especially now that they're of a similar-ish size, in that ProgPower felt so much more crowded because like it has like that outer area where they do like the merch and the everything else, but it gets so full with like 20 lines on top of each other between like the signing sessions, multiple food lines, the merch lines, the bathroom lines, the bar lines. It like literally gets to points where like you cannot move as you're trying to navigate the fest, which I never felt like I had in the current iteration of Man with Power. Like that was more open and accessible, where it's like, yo, you can like linger between, grab a drink, play an arcade game, leave and grab food, whatever you need to do. So like that was a thing where I felt like, man, I kind of wish they did a venue other than Center Stage, because it's getting a little tough in here, boys. But I mean, it's not like a huge complaint. Like it's still workable, but it's just I was more like cognizant of things like this, I think. And then there's like the fest not running super on time compared to Mad with Power, which was like exactly on time.
Yeah, shout out to Ty. I'm impressed. I'll be going to Mad with Power next year for the first time. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, fellowship. Let's go.
Yeah, fellowship.
What other strange things? It's weird because like there are so many of the same people at both of these fests. Obviously, like the crowd of people in America who have like the means and the willpower to go to these shows, not a huge number. So it's just funny to like go to a fest in one fuck off part of the country, and then just like time warp everybody. You just pick them up and push them somewhere else into this other fuck off part of the country. Just be like, oh hey, I've seen you around.
The Venn diagram of Mad with Power and ProgPower is not quite a circle, but it's pretty close.
It is very close for sure. There's a lot of like, oh yeah, or even if it's somebody you've never talked to, it's like you've probably seen their face, and it just kind of starts to stick with you.
Yeah, I saw some familiar faces from last year, so that was cool.
All right, now we'll properly talk about day 4 as once we finally woke up. And what better way to wake up than with evil invaders? Now, this was just like the one like pure shred, balls to the walls, fucking rip your face off riffs and what speed and thrash and brah type of band. Like very much like a Hell's Heroes type of band if you're into that.
Thrash and rah.
Yeah.
Rah.
It's full speed or no speed, as they say, right? Foreshadowing there, I guess. So I had a great time with this set just because there hadn't been there's so much like prog type stuff, or just having somebody go and rip your face off with just pure shred was very nice, I think. Evil Invaders, yeah. This is one I'd really been looking forward to.
I know I'm also lamenting not having Orbit Culture in this slot, but I did enjoy them, but their songs started to really blend together for me, and it's clearly a style difference where I'm like, was it performed poorly? No. Did I enjoy it at first? Yeah. I liked the sample. I ended up bailing on them partway through the set, but not out of like, oh no, this sucked. It was just like, okay, it's this style. I could use like a little sampler platter. I could get it as an appetizer, but I don't want a full serving of it.
Some people are afraid.
Yeah, I'm afraid. Oh, but no, it was still good. It was enjoyable. I think anyone who enjoys that style of music immensely would love Evil Invaders.
Yeah, their main dude looks like he's like straight out of some hardcore 80s shit with his like long hair with bangs, with the knives strapped to his arms. Like, yeah, fucking hell, man.
It definitely had that look.
Smashing the shit out of the mic stand at the end, which I don't think they had the same flight travel problems, but it fit the image, I think.
For sure.
All right. After Evil Invaders, we were invaded by pirates. Oh, no.
Yarr.
I had a vision, or multiple of them, of a city that fell into the ocean. That's right. We had Atlantis, visions of Atlantis. The suddenly pirately themed band of symphonic metal featuring the guy from Napalm Records.
Yeah.
We had seen them, I think, a couple times before on like Dragon Force tours. They're a fun band. You know, I think they have a lot of stage presence. They put on a good show. I had obviously seen their whole pirate shtick before with Dragon Force, so it wasn't like a thing I had to see again. I think they're fun. Their stuff is catchy enough. It's not the most interesting songs, and they're another one that relies heavily on the backing tracks for like a lot of lead melody type stuff. But you know, they're fine. They put on a decent enough show.
Yeah, they're definitely one of those that follows up where the performance is fine, their showmanship's good and stuff, but it's a lot of the very, I don't know. I'm not as into their songs. I actually remember first hearing about them ages ago when they had some, I can't remember, maybe even like something called Delta or something, and I liked a couple tracks from that, and then like only two, and then I kind of got disenchanted with those. So I just never really got into them, but like their performance was fine. I missed the first part, but once I got to the end, I'm like, this was good for the amount of time I got. And I don't know if it was the closer or the second to last, where I'm like, this was good. I did hear them on the Dragon Force tour, and they were perfectly fine. I think their opener on the Dragon Force tour was good.
They do the thing where like I've seen like pirate or Viking themed bands where people like sit down and pretend to row a ship. This is a band that asks the crowd on the floor to sit down and do that, which I've only ever seen it be like impromptu. Which I think it's better when it's impromptu and not when the band asks you to do it.
Yeah.
And like that floor, people drop a lot of fucking shitty beer cans or whatever on that floor, bro.
That's all I was thinking when like they're, hey, row the ship, and I'm like, not on that floor. I wasn't down there, but like. I 100% would not get on the floor to like, oh, let's get it would, like my shorts would get sticky. I don't know if I was wearing a skirt that day, but just nothing about that sounds appealing to me. Absolutely not.
Yeah, and then
but the show was good though.
Yeah, as a enjoyer of the TV show Black Sails, I think I'm like somewhat obligated to just enjoy pirate themed things, so I can kind of get into that for this. I think it's I just like, was it Our Flag Means Death? So different vibe, though. Hey, that's the other gay pirate show. So
yeah, the other gay pirate show. I love gay pirates.
They're both good. Just different.
I'll check out Black Sails sometime.
You would like it. Everybody would like it because it's phenomenal.
For sure. I'll check. I'll let you know.
All right. Well, then let's mosey on down to Delain, the resurrected, somehow still alive after every member except for one left, Delain. I was interested to see how this would go. It's everyone's favorite band that you accidentally saw open for 3 other bands in the late 2010s. Let's go!
Yeah, I think I don't know how many times. This is probably like my 5th time seeing them. I've never, like you said, accidental. I've never deliberately gone and go, oh, like Delain's going to be performing. Oh, let's go. I've been like, oh, it's, oh, crap, dude, it's Sabaton. Who else is going to be there? Well, it's like Delain and someone else. And like, it's always Delain and then the band I wanted to see. But I was morbidly curious this time to see what they sounded like when literally everyone except for one guy got changed. I was like, I know like what they sound like. I know what their songs are. I think they're all right. I used to love April Rain, but I was like, but I really want to see what they sound like.
Yeah, they're not really my style. I think they have some fun songs. I think
Sucker
April Rain.
Punch.
And what was the one they closed? It was like We Are the Others or something. That one's kind of fun.
We Are the Others is catchy. But no, April Rain, they don't play Go Away live, but that one's really good. They did The Gathering live, which is nice. That was good. But like the ones I really wanted to hear were like April Rain and Sucker Punch, and they put those pretty early in the set list. So I'm like, thank you. I appreciate this.
Their new vocalist did a good job. I know
she's good.
Yeah, people I know really like their old one, Charlotte, right?
Charlotte's great.
Yeah, and I
loved her doing Burning Bridges and some of the. She did a good job when she was touring with Amorphis before everything died back in 2000. Before 2020.
I'm glad people seem to have like embraced this new singer. I know those symphonic metal bands and the singer changes don't always have the best history of being treated well. So I'm glad. I'm glad things seem to be chill in the Delain camp. As far as not that I pay much attention to them, but it seems fine. And that's
I have this thing burned into my head where I was wearing a Nightwish shirt back where I went to university, and I went to go get ice cream at this ice cream thing, and one person there was like, "Oh, Nightwish, I love." They're going on about it, and then I was like, "Yeah, I'm like really into the new stuff, and that's really great." And they could have pulled a knife on me for saying that. Like, it was so like the conversation was like, oh. And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize I committed a crime here. I literally agreed that Once was amazing. I didn't realize that saying, I think it was Dark Passion Play or Imaginary. I
was like 2010 or something when this happened.
No, it was college. It was before that.
Oh my god, so
I graduated
old.
before 2010. I'm not that old. But no, it was. I think it was Imaginary. Or wait, was it Dark Passion Play? No, Dark Passion Play came first. Yeah, it was Dark Passion Play. So no, it was that they definitely. I did not anticipate Delain to make a clean. I had expectations that this was probably either going to be fine or a disaster. And if it was a disaster, I wanted to watch it.
I mean, part of me was hoping for a disaster because it'd be entertaining, but they did fine.
Yeah, it was good. I didn't watch the full set again. I know, like I feel like a few of those, but I only missed like a handful of sets. I didn't miss 100% of any set except for day one. But I saw at least a half an hour Delain, and that half an hour was pretty solid. And they played like 2 out of the 3 songs that I wanted to hear. So I'm like, good job, keep this up. You did good.
And they kept
I've seen you enough times.
The most important thing, they still have like a light up microphone stand, which was the best part of the first time I saw them, because I just memed on that, and I'm glad that's still there.
Yeah, glad they kept that alive.
All right, let's unleash the real big ones here then, as we get into Unleash the Archers, the everyone's favorite North American hardcore power metal band. So I had just seen them a couple weeks ago at Mad with Power. They played a very similar set this time. They had to cut a few songs. I think they had a slightly shorter set, not being the headliner. But man, they always put on a phenomenal show. I really love Unleash the Archers live.
Yeah, this was my only second time. I don't know how many times other people have seen them, but I'd seen them once before, and then they were good. Somehow I liked them more this time. The first time I saw them was like, oh, this was good. I don't know if Brittany necessarily had an off day. It felt like the songs were still good, but the stage presence was lower. She brought it. This was one of my favorite performances of the whole show. I think I put it 4th out of 18. So I feel like that's a really good. And the only thing she was like below were like the 3 that I thought were like completely blown away compared to the others. And this was at the top of the list below that, which just means that it was fantastic. I enjoyed it. Brittany nailed it. The whole band nailed it. I'm good. They actually have more not boring solos. They've got good instrumentation. There was one song that when I listened to it on the album, I felt like it kind of drew itself out a little bit more. It was like Wind That Shapes the Land or something like that.
Yeah, the Wind That Shapes the Land.
Yeah, no, hearing it live, I'm like, oh, nope, I was wrong. This is a good song. They played several other songs that I enjoy. I'm like, wow, this was a top tier performance. A+ to Unleash the Archers for that. That was phenomenal.
Yeah, hey, Wind That Shapes the Land. That's like the climax of that album. That's the mortal and the matriarch fighting. That's important.
Oh, wait. They have a story?
Yes.
Oh, I thought they just were. Wait, I don't know if I'm being fucked with.
No, you've never seen that? Yeah, Apex and Abyss are like 2 parts of a story.
Okay.
You don't need to know it to obviously to like the songs or to resonate with them. But
okay.
This literally does exist. I'm not fucking with you. This is real.
Okay, I believe you. I just think that's. I didn't realize. I don't know. I just thought they had song. I'm gonna be honest. I just realized I put 0 effort into thinking what their songs are about until this moment.
Yeah, I literally drew from Apex once when doing D&D campaign stuff.
Oh well, that reminds. See, back in the day when I was a younger kid doing D&D stuff, I literally like ripped straight out of some new albums that came out at the time, which was the new one I was ripping off was Power of the Dragon Flame.
Oh yes, the new album, Power of the Dragon Flame.
Yeah, good times.
Oh, simple, such innocent, simple times.
Yeah, that was good. Stealing from Rhapsody. Hey, this just in. Steal from Rhapsody, and you'll actually get some decent D&D encounters.
If you're gonna steal from the best.
Yeah, but yeah, UTA, wonderful.
All right, that brings us into the headliner for day 4. This is Myrath. Are they from like Tunisia? I think they said.
That's correct.
All right, so I've listened to a bit of Myrath before this, and I'd always liked what I'd heard, and I wasn't really sure how it was going to be live. But man, they were phenomenal.
That vocalist. Okay, so are you familiar with like doing stuff like with falsetto or like with your full chest and stuff like that?
I like it when the singer goes and it sounds nice.
Yeah, he from like his head voice, he fills that. I'm like, I'm not 1,000% sure on like how to voice the technique and say it in technical terms, but he puts a lot into it at every stage. Does the high notes like. If there's something like I love about like Tommy and Khan, they like switch to this light falsetto, but this dude just was like, know what, we're gonna do this with full punch, like similar to some things like Yanis does. But these songs are definitely more intricate. Not all of them, like Dance and Believer are fairly almost poppy, but
well, Believe is like the one that Believer is the one they close with because it is like one of their more like happy sing-alongy songs.
Yeah, but like at the same time though, they did play some of their more like Symphony X inspired stuff. Like, was it Relentless Times? I think is what it is. I forget some of the stuff. Tales from the Sands, which is my favorite album by there. Mm-hmm. They played a little bit from that, which I was a little bit worried they were gonna like just lean on the new stuff, which is I consider to be good. But I really like some of their older stuff.
Well, they played a couple like songs from an unreleased upcoming album that I thought sounded pretty good.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, the new stuff! I am so excited. I'm like that album sounds like it has album of the year potential already.
Yeah,
we heard like 3 or 4 songs from it.
Yeah, one to look for next year is definitely going to be Myrath, and I guess Unleash the Archers. Hell, they got a new album coming next like March or whatever.
Goodness. 2024 is going to be amazing. But Myrath was almost a tie, but I'm going to still put them as my favorite performance of ProgPower 2023.
Like every other song, they had this like dancer lady come out. She always had a different outfit on, so mad respect to the quick change in the wardrobe department.
Yeah, it was. They put on a good show. They have great stage presence. They're good performers, and it's not just like super, because they have like some stuff that I consider to be kind of like actual prog power and not just like prog or power, like a little mix of both. And they clearly have some stuff that's just like pop power.
Yeah, when
so they have a good mix of the two, and I think it's nice to have some proggy bits that still like performed well with some pop. It's just a good mix. They nailed everything. They nailed the performance. They nailed the stage presence. Everything was just 1,000%. If Myrath ever plays in the US again, I'm there.
Yeah, the bands that can really combine the prog and power sides of this, I think Seventh Wonder is probably the one that does this really well as well. They just unite the festival into a way that makes everybody happy, and I think that's rare, honestly. So big shout out to Myrath for putting on what I thought would be a good set, but ended up being like a phenomenal set. So as far as like expectations versus reality, I think they were one of the better ones. And like, yeah, they're headlining the whole fest. I probably should, give them the benefit of the doubt there, but sometimes they kind of wing it with these bands that are headlining the whole fest.
Yeah.
Oh me, I'm so clever.
Thank you for being so hilarious.
Yes. Well, then I think we can start talking about the bands for next year, because they always announce some bands, and they've been kind of weird about the order how they've announced things this year. I think we'll just start with. We'll go in reverse order of what they did. We'll just start with day one of what's been confirmed so far, and then go in order from there.
Okay.
All right. So next year for ProgPower 2024, which is I think the 23rd ProgPower, we got 3 more of these before Glenn calls it quits and retires, because God bless him, I guess. All right. So this isn't all of the day one bands. I think there's going to be 5 total, and they've announced 2. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I'm only aware of two.
All right, so we're starting off with Circus Maximus, who I haven't heard much of, but I know they're pretty good, and I think will make for a good show.
I listen. They're on my list of I need to listen to it more. The funny part is, I forget if it was ProgPower or something else, but there was one time where Khan bailed on a tour mid-set or mid-tour. I know Fabio did a lot of the that tour, but the guy from Circus Maximus filled in for, I want to say, the ProgPower portion of that. And I heard a version of him doing the lead vocals for a couple songs, one of which was Center of the Universe.
Oh, motherfucker.
And yeah, I didn't, obviously I didn't see it, but I like just found on YouTube a shitty recording. And all I'm thinking is like, this dude is nailing the song. Like you're asking some guy to fill in for Khan, who's now just left the metal scene altogether, and like, oh, no one can fill those shoes. It's going to be awful. No, it was like this is actually good. I'm not saying he's better than Khan, but I'm like, I want to hear more of this guy. So very excited for Circus Maximus. I'll probably this like a good reminder for me to brush up and actually give them a real chance, because I just end up like playing the same crap over and over again. So let's shake it up.
You could listen to new music, or you could listen to the same song that you've heard 1,500 times on repeat all day.
Yeah, that happens.
You know, it's a tough world out there.
It is tough. Like I don't want to listen. I do want to listen to new music, so I'll check them out for sure. Vocalist sounds amazing. Well,
speaking of amazing vocalists, the headliner for day one is going to be Angra, with Fabio. Now, they headlined day two back in 2018, which is the last time I saw them, only time I've seen them. And I thought they were great. I really loved their show. That was what made that day for me back in 2018. So I'm totally stoked to see Angra again.
Yeah, I caught that tour. They did a tour before ProgPower in 2018. Caught it. Was wonderful. I 100%. If they put on a performance like that, 1,000%, 10 out of 10 would see again. I love it. Love it. Obviously, I like Fabio, but the whole band is amazing, and they put on a good show.
Yeah, last time they did a whole album run through of Omni, and then like some fan selected songs. I assume this one they'll do maybe not a whole playthrough, but they'll probably do some of their new album, which is Cycles of Pain, I think, coming out pretty soon. Yep. So I'm interested to hear that, and then I'm sure they're not stupid. They're gonna play the classic bangers too.
They 100% will. Like Nova, they did Nova Era and Carry On and stuff for me.
Yeah, they know their stuff. Mm-hmm. And Fabio always knows how to put on a great show.
For sure.
I feel like day one is usually kind of like the weakest day of ProgPower, but I think this is already sounding like the strongest day one.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear the other three.
All right, starting off day two. So they introduced this as like the most promising like power debut of the last 10 years. And I'm like, well, it's not Fellowship. But anyway, I think it was
Prog debut.
Or Prog debut, excuse me. Which in this case was No Spun, who I believe are an American band. I have not listened to them, but they're apparently very good. So I think that'll be a cool thing to check out to open day two. Have you listened to them much?
No, they're on my list, but it was mostly on my list after. There's a person Jake from Ravenous, who we actually align on a lot of like prog bands.
Your prog tastes, I think, line up.
Our prog tastes line up very, like, we both love like Caligula's Horse, Green, Carnation, Between the Buried and Me, Lepra. It's a long list. Mm-hmm. So when he's super enthused about it, he's like, dude, this is an amazing thing. I'm like, well, it sounds like it's probably up my alley. So I'm pretty excited, and I'm going to go. They're on my short list to check out. I've got a little bit of a to-do list for listening, of which there's actually another band on the same day that I started on earlier this week that I'm super enthused about now that I wasn't. I was like, oh, I've heard of them, but are they good? And the answer is yes. But we'll get to those in just a minute.
All right. Then next up is Northtail, who hopefully don't have to cancel this time.
Is this the third time they've gotten Northtail?
I think it's the second. I think it's only the second.
It just, to me, maybe for memes, it sounds like.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see when they get here.
Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to this. They play just straightforward banger power metal, so I think this will be really great. Like Bill Hudson's always at the festival. He was playing with Doro set this time. So I'm glad to see his band properly get up here.
It'll be enjoyable, no matter what they do. It's fun, but no, it'll be fun. Power metal will be good. I'm looking forward to that.
All right, and we're going to follow that up with Scar Symmetry, a melodic death metal band who I think they had a new album this year that was also pretty good.
Yeah, so that's I've never listened to them before, so I heard, hey, they're going to be on day 2, and I've heard they're pretty good, and let's check them out. So I decided to start with the new album. It's really good. Like I just listened to it like, I don't know, Thursday, and now I'm like, whoa, this is great. Why did I not? I don't know. I had this thing in my head that like Scar Symmetry is like, not my thing, or blah blah. I don't know where I got that idea. I'm wrong. They're good. I'm gonna be continuing to listen to more of them. So I'm very excited for day 2, because I mean, even after this, it just ramps up. But like, so far, everything sounds good. This day seems like a banger day. So,
Yeah,
super excited.
and then we're gonna keep going with Twilight Force, playing for the first time in the U.S. in a long time. I've never seen them before. I am super stoked for this. With just like, let's give me the twinkly, happy, stupid elf power metal. Let's go. It'll be a great time.
I want stupid elves.
I want stupid elves with long blonde hair and whatever.
I am immensely excited for this. Twilight Force is one of my favorite bands now at this point. I've never seen them live. I mean, they're not like my top 4, but like I have a very long list of bands I pay attention to. Twilight Force is one of my favorite most recent albums. Like there's some albums that come up and I'm like, that's cool, but I like to rely on the old reliables.
Mm-hmm.
But them, when they dropped Heroes of Mighty Magic, that's made its way into my regular listening all the time. That is phenomenal. I'm excited to hear more Twilight Force. I enjoyed album 3 and 4. It sounds like they put on a good show. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I think Heart of Wintervale is one of my more listened to albums from this year.
Yeah, it's one of the best albums of this year for sure. If not, no, not the. I'd have to go back. I can't say it's my album of the year. It's up there. It's my top 4.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think I've ever seen Conti live, so that'll be cool as well.
I haven't either. And guy's got a great name.
Yes, indeed. It's really funny to have both the former Christian Eriksen bands like on the same day. I'm sure that's just a coincidence, but it's really fucking funny.
It's hilarious.
I wonder if like they're gonna like bond over like, oh man, that guy was real to work with, or I don't know why. No one's actually ever said why Christian was kicked out of these bands or left, but it's just really fucking funny.
Yeah. No, that's I think it's hilarious too.
Anyway, well, you know what's not funny is Leprosy, but Leprous is a cool band that is then playing next. This is like cool guy prog metal, right?
No, it's so Leprous, when they did their most recent tour, was one of my favorite performances. Although there's of course the vocalist is dating someone who is evidently their family or something in Ukraine. So when he like dedicated like this next song to like he's worried about his girlfriend or fiance or whatever, and I don't know the status of them, but like in their family who live in Ukraine, and like I just want to blah. And then he did Alleviate after that, and I'm like, oh, I know you can't set this up because now I'm already in a blah mood, and did that. Oh, I'm gonna cry again, and I did. It was beautiful. He has a gorgeous voice. They have really interesting songs. They're like, hey, do you like polyrhythms or some stuff? They have some weird stuff on like especially percussion. Bard is amazing. Was it Sky is Red? They're just 1,000%. This is a band that brings me to like a show. Because like if you put like for example Northtail on a show, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll see them if they're there if I like the headliner. Leprous brings me to the show.
Yeah, I haven't listened to much Leprous, but I feel like every time I hear someone talk about Leprous, they're like, oh my god, they're amazing. So I'm like, all right, I'm here. Let's do it.
Yeah, I filled in that role for you.
Thank you. Well, then that brings us on to the headline for day 2 of Dark Tranquility, which I think leans more into like the mellow death side of things as well. Also sort of proggy, but also very cool.
Yeah, I've listened to them a bit. It's been a hot minute. I did enjoy them, but I think for some reason they've gone out in my rotation. I'm gonna put them back in, but I'm prioritizing listening to some of the newer bands first. But I think they were good. I'm sure I'm gonna enjoy their performance regardless.
All right. I'm thinking day 2 is like one of the like overall strongest days of this. Like,
For sure.
there's no bands where I'm like, oh, I can skip them. Like, oh yeah,
Right.
that's whatever. That's whatever.
This is a I'm going to see every band day.
Yeah, that's gonna be a rough day.
It will be, and that's okay. I'm gonna sit down for like all of it.
Look at you.
I know, I'm old.
All right, then. Well, let's get into day 3, and we're opening up with Striker, which is a power metal, speed metal-y band from Canada. I saw them open for Unleash the Archers a few years ago, and I thought they were fantastic. So I'm really stoked to see them on the bigger stage here.
Yeah, I've listened to them a bit. I don't think they're like super exceptional, but they're definitely like, oh, I'm into this. And like, was it Stand in the Fire was good? I mean, they've got good stuff. And I'm like, all I want to do is, I'm like, they are 100% like a band where if someone else is going to be playing, I'm like, I really want to see them. But I'm like, I'm not as into them that I'm like, oh, there's a Striker show. If it's just them, or like if I don't know the openers, I'm not sure it would go. But now that they're here, I'm like, oh, cool. I'll finally get to see them because this sounds exciting. And like, they bring the energy. And, compared to like, they're going to close with like Leprous and Dark Tranquility, which I think are going to be relatively, and Twilight Force has energy, but it's like a little, they don't have like the faster pace stuff. Striker's going to bring the fast pace. It's going to be great.
Yeah, they had really great stage presence when I saw them originally.
Oh, I love hearing that. That's good. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think you'll dig them. All right, that brings us into Fifth Angel, like more of a straightforward heavy metal band from the old US of A.
I know nothing about them.
I've listened to a little bit of them, and they were all right. I think they will be a solid show.
I believe you.
Alrighty. That will then lead us elegantly into Elegy.
I also don't know about them.
I have listened to like one song of theirs. They seemed good. They're an old power metal band from the Netherlands, it would seem.
Okay, I'll check all of their power metal. I should check them out. Honestly, I should check out all the bands I'm not familiar with.
There's a lot of bands on here where it's like, I know I've heard them. They're supposed to be good. I will believe that they are good, and they are coming to the show next year. All right. Then I will also follow that up with Soen, a band that I always mix up with the Atmo Black band Sour. I don't know how you say it. Yeah. But it's the other 4-letter word that starts with S.
Yeah, this one's like, I know that there's different people who disagree with things. This is like...
That's one way of describing the world, yes.
Sorry. Okay, so there's Tool. Are you familiar with Tool?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've tried to listen to Tool and I'm like, this is fine. I tried to listen to So and I'm like, this sounds like Tool if I liked them. So I'm pretty excited. I'm so sorry. It's not that I dislike Tool. I'm just like, this is fine. But I'm not going to like listen to music that I think is fine. Back in the day, I listened. There was a couple songs that really hooked me back when I was in high school from Tool. So when I started listening to these, I was told to listen to it, and then like we had something on shuffle, and their song like Fractions came on, and I'm like, nope, what is this? I'm adding it to my library right now and putting it on repeat. So I'm very excited that they're coming to the show.
All right, so better Tool, maybe a power Tool, although I don't think they're a power metal band.
No, they're proggy. They're definitely closer to the slower. They've got some interesting rhythms though, but it's definitely slower prog than the actual like high intensity stuff.
Well, I'm happy to sit down for them to save my energy for the next band. The one I'm most excited for the whole festival.
Yeah.
ProgPower is doing the US debut of Lovebites.
Yeah.
Oh my god. This is the one where I freaked out during the fucking announcement. Like,
I think we both did.
Yes. This was nuts. This was my like, oh man, what if they did this? No, they wouldn't do it, but they actually did it. Oh my god.
Yeah, I literally was thinking like, what would bring me? Like, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna go to ProgPower next year. I'll try to make it work, but we'll see if I do. And I'm like, if they bring one of my must-see bands, I'll have to go. But like, it's a small list at this point. Like, blah 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 blah, and like Lovebites. And I'm like, but they're not gonna do that. Joke's on me. Like, well, fuck it. I am now went from we'll see if I like it to I am going to make it work.
Yeah, like fuck it. I'll go to all 4 days, because I'm just happy Lovebites is there.
No. I'm going to all 4 days. I mean, I don't want to miss Circus Maximus and Angra. I don't want to miss like Twilight Force and Leprous.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss Lovebites or Sown, and I don't want to miss the headliner for this day. But I most importantly don't want to miss Lovebites. I love them so much. I listen to them all the time. I remember like I initially was like hesitant on them, and now I have like 2,000 scrabbles by them or something like that.
Scrabbles.
So just plays, whatever. I don't know. Scrabbles is a stupid word. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So I think I've seen so much like in every post about the lineup for next year. I feel like half the comments are like, "Oh my god, Lovebites." So like the weeb music fans are gonna be like in droves. I think this will very easily sell out next year. So it might get nuts. God help them during the signing session.
I don't know. I want to do it, but I have a feel like it's gonna be so long.
Yes,
we'll see who's performing during it. We'll see. I want to, but I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to. I mean, I don't. I'd rather watch music than have a fan interaction, which I don't actually get a lot out of. It would be cool to get something signed.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm just super stoked that they're going to be there because they don't get bands from Japan very often. Galnerius felt like a fucking miracle. Now this probably will feel like also like a fucking miracle.
Both are a miracle for sure.
All right, and then we go from like the intense power metal into the intense mellow death prog metal. We got Amorphis as the headliner for day 3.
Yay! I've only seen them once, so I'm really excited to see them again. I loved Halo. I think that's a good album.
Yeah, I missed their last tour, so I've never seen them live. And their last
you missed the
last 5 albums were fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They have some really good older albums, but it's definitely a different style. And I'm like, these are cool. I think they're probably meant for other people, but I like them, but not love them. Whereas as soon as they hit, this is where I think you also divide the true and the false, and I'm going to be the false.
Ooh.
As soon as you hit Eclipse and On, that's really when I start liking them, because I don't know if it's the album immediately after, but it's 1 or 2 albums after. I want to say immediately though, but we'll see. I'll look it up and I'll be wrong. But immediately after Eclipse is I think Skyforger, and that's really fantastic. Skyforger and Queen of Time are 2 of my favorite albums ever.
Yeah, I think I've Skyforger and On is where I've mostly listened to them, and it's all good stuff. So whatever they do, I'm in for it because I think they're fantastic.
Oh, they lean heavily on Eclipse and on their more recent stuff. So
okay,
if you like Eclipse, I mean of Red Cloud, they did a lot of Queen of Time, Red Cloud.
Yeah, those are all good.
Skyforger, and a couple from and a couple from Circle, but not a lot. I think that's
Circle's good too.
Yeah, I like Circle, but they only did a minimal amount from that. But I'm oh no, they only pulled from these, and I list 5 albums that are all good.
Yeah, so day 3 I think starts decently and then ends amazingly. So. Yeah. Which after day 2 seems to be very exciting. So kind of chilling earlier for day 3 and then finishing strong, I think I'm fine with.
I'm 1,000% good with that.
All right, and then finally for day 4, opening up with Frozen Crown, power metal from Italy, who just hired a 12-year-old guitarist because that's what they do. But I'm really looking forward to seeing Frozen Crown. I think they've put on some really solid power metal. I've been really wanting to see them for a while. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be their US debut as well.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I'm excited to see them. They're definitely on I need to see them now that they're coming. So that's good.
Yeah, I think the day 4 is a little shy on the straight power metal. So we're gonna need to get what we can get.
Yeah.
All right, then they're followed up with Disillusion, which I have never listened to. I believe they're a mellow death prog band of sorts. A friend of ours is saying that they're amazing and that he wants to go just for them. So I'll take that as hopefully they are actually good.
Yeah, German prog melody. No, that guy and I tend to also have some similar musical tastes. I remember when talking about like Ghosts of Atlantis and Ephemerald, and we have some very similar takes on what is constitutes like good like European melodeath. And so I'm like, oh, it's the same person who said, hey, you should listen to these albums, and I'm like, dude, these rock. Well, this is on the to-do list. Like I said, I just got to Scar Symmetry on like Thursday, so I'll get to this eventually as well. I'm pretty excited just for that, but we'll see as I listen to the album. I'm really looking forward to that though.
All right, well, you got a year to do all your homework.
Yeah, I'm not in a rush.
All right. So next band is, I think it's pronounced Elaine or Elaine. I don't know how to say it.
I don't know how to say it either.
But it's the band with a lot of personality, we'll say. As
some big personality.
Yes, indeed. As they are like a dark symphonic metal band. Of the personality-filled symphonic metal bands I've listened to, I think they're on the better side. So I think this should be a solid show as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to listen to it because it is my style of music. So we'll see if I obviously I like stuff like, Nightwish Delain. It sounds like they're in that same camp. So it'll give some variety to that. And hopefully it's a good show.
Yeah, they're less on like the poppy side of that. It's more on like the darker, heavier side.
Yeah, which is good. It's nice to have some variety.
Yeah, which I think we're going to get from the next band as well, which is going to be a set by Damian Wilson. I
love Damian Wilson.
He's done a lot of stuff. I best know him from his work with Aerion and Star One, which I think he does phenomenally with. So I'm looking forward to him doing some of that stuff, plus other stuff that he's worked on. So this should be an interesting show.
I actually listened to a little bit of him in Aerion, and I'm like, oh, this guy's good. Who is it? I'm like, oh, it's that Threshold guy. Like I always like for a while got the Threshold singers confused. So recently I'm like, okay, I've listened to a bunch of Threshold, but do you know how many albums they have?
A lot.
It's a lot. So I decided to go back and listen to like old, which has a couple of Damian Wilson stuff, which includes the song "Consume to Live," which as soon as I like heard this, I've listened to that song I think like 100 or 200 times in the past month now. Because I love it, and I'm like, dude, the singer's great. So that singer is Damian Wilson.
Ooh.
So, and they included, when they're like, hey, blah blah blah, they like did the announcement. They just had a smattering of albums he's on, and they said like they're going to be doing a mix like set list. They included that album Wounded Land on that list. So I'm like, I really hope if I get Consumed to Live live, because we heard Threshold in 2019, but they played 0 songs from those albums with like the old Damian Wilson. There's new ones obviously, so they played some of that, but like not the old stuff. And I'm like, oh, I really wanted that. But guess what? We might be able to get some of that this time. I'm looking forward to it. This is I think actually like this is up there for me for day 4.
I hope they play
this or the next group.
I hope they play Intergalactic Space Crusaders.
Okay, I'll look up that. Is that Aerion?
Yeah, it's Aerion, or I think it's technically Star One, but Aerion plays it.
I'll check that song out. Thanks for reminding me, because I like the vocalist.
The Aerion Universe version from like the newer DVD is cool, but if you want to be really cool, you'll watch like the fucking like 2002 like crap quality one. That one's cool with like the shiny outfits and everything. Or watch them both. They're both great. All right.
For sure.
So then we've got Pagan's Mind. They're like prog power metal. Am I correct in remembering that?
They're prog power. Yeah, I'm excited for them like a lot.
I haven't listened to much Pagan's Mind. They're one of those bands where I always hear like, oh yeah, they're supposed to be good, and I've just never gotten around to it. So this will finally be the time. I think they had like one of the biggest crowd reactions of like, oh yeah.
Yeah. I've only listened to 2 of their albums, but trying to remember. It's Heavenly Ecstasy. I've listened to a lot. It's very good. And Celestial Entrance. Celestial Entrance is the one I first like back when I was using, what was it? Pandora. They suggested it to me, and I listened to it a lot from there. Or may have been like another one that looks similar to it. I forget. I think there's like Celestial Entrance, and there's an album maybe after it.
It's that album with like the blue on it.
Yeah, I know they're both blue, but I remember Celestial Entrance.
I think they're all blue.
And then, no. So Heavenly Ecstasy, the one I've listened to the most, is Orange.
Oh, okay.
And that's the one that has my favorite song. by them called Intermission. It's very good. So I'm really excited for this. I think at one point in time I realized that thought they disbanded. So hearing Pagan's Mind, I'm like, oh shit, this is good. I'm finally gonna get to see them. I've never heard of a date tour or anything, a show for Pagan's Mind. So 1,000% looking forward to this. This and Damian Wilson are for me the real big sells on day 4.
Yeah, I think day 4 is kind of odd with an odd collection of things, but it should be interesting still. Mm-hmm. Whereas some of the other days are just yeah, this is a fucking great band. All right.
Yeah, day 2, 3 are definitely my leads for the moment because they seem packed.
All right.
But day 4.
All right, so now we've got the headliner for day 4. We're like, oh fuck, who's it gonna be? I was thinking, oh shit, they got a big sort of prog band for the day 3 headliner. Maybe day 4 will be a big power metal band. Will it be Blind? What if it's Guardian? Will it be Blind Guardian? They're touring the world and everything. It's the perfect time. They got a new album. I fucking bought a Blind Guardian patch at the store to manifest that energy, and then it comes on for this historic set. They're bringing Winger, and I'm like, who the fuck is Winger?
Yeah, that was. I was like, what? Who? And I was like, I need to pull out my phone and see who this is. And then I'm like, oh,
it's a glam rock band from the 80s, who did a sort of proggy album called Pull, which I think is what they're playing in its entirety, plus probably other things. So
okay,
the video announcing the bands glitched out right after it said Winger was going to play, so I think everyone thought it was a joke. where is the real headliner? And no, apparently it's real. This is Glenn's wish fulfillment band. He was him and the Boomers were in love with Winger apparently, and they're super stoked for this. Everyone I talked to under the age of 40 is yeah, so that Winger, that's a choice. That's kind of where I stand. I'm okay, if I don't like it, maybe I can leave the show early. If I enjoy it, hey, guess what? Surprise! After those 2 good bands, I get another one. Yeah, so, I'm always open to be surprised by these things.
Yeah, I'm not going to just bail on it. We'll check it out for sure.
I did talk to someone who's oh, we should leave early for the Art-More and order a bunch of chicken wings.
Oh, see, that sounds good too. See, that just sounds more exciting.
It doesn't it? When I looked at the band, it's they originally split up before I was even born. That's how old of a poll this is.
That's old of a poll.
That one wasn't even planned.
Yeah,
oh man, the name Winger always just makes me think of Jeff Winger from Community. So, which I'm oh, it contributes to the feeling of this is a joke, but I guess it's not. Maybe it'll be good. I feel I've seen a lot of controversy about them picking Winger.
Yeah, and Glenn had a post about you guys don't realize how proggy Pull is. I know you guys. I forget the post, but it was you guys are. Some of you are complaining, but this is going to be packed, and everyone's going to like it once they're I'm okay, whatever. I don't. The fact that you've actually had to defend it, I think, says a bit about it. But whatever.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be really weird because there's going to be a lot of intense fans. I think for Lovebites specifically on day 3, and day 3 and 4 tickets are sold together. So it's going to be the Boomers versus the Weebs, between days 3 and 4.
Got the Weebs that are calling themselves the Wolf Pack.
Yes, the fucking Wolf Pack, cringe pack, more like it. Oh!
Yeah, it's 100. Every time I see a Wolf Pack is going to burn the US, blah, blah, I'm oh, okay. I love Lovebites. They're one of my top bands, and it's just great. But
I'm never calling myself a
not.
Wolf
I never. You will never. Unless someone's hey, for $1,000, will you be I'm part of the Wolf Pack? Absolutely. But you're gonna have to bribe me to actually say it. I'm never going to volunteer.
So you can be bought.
So cringe. Yes, I absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, but no. It's so weird.
Yes, it is extremely weird. I think best case scenario, it's really hilarious. Mm-hmm. And the bands are good too. I guess that's important.
Yeah. But regardless, the out of the bands we got right now, and we're getting 24 bands this year, as opposed to I remember when the first time I went, they were 20. So they're ramping up the amount of bands they're polling.
Yeah, so there's gonna be 6 bands on day 2, which I don't think they've done before.
Or is it 23 bands now?
Yeah, because it's 6. Well, it's 6 on all the days except for day 1, which will have 5.
One is 5, yeah. So, all right, yeah, still good. Yeah, they've never done 6 bands on day 2, so pretty excited there. Yeah, I mean, from all the bands announced so far, all in all, this looks like a very good show.
Yeah,
I think the only one I'm iffy on is day 4, and even then, day 4 is stuff I need to see. So
yeah, so
I'm really looking forward to it.
I think this is gonna. I had heard next year is supposed to be like a stronger lineup than this year, and I think so far I would agree with that. And I had a good time
100%.
This year too. So hey, fuck it, let's keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be there next year.
I think that is everything for ProgPower USA this year. It's a long-running festival. It's very tiring, but very, very fun and worth it to go to in my mind, even as it is expensive to go across the whole fucking country for this.
Yeah, it's expensive, but I never feel like, oh man, that sucked, I'm not doing that again. I say, having done it 3 times, so that's obviously I think it's worth it. So I'm doing it a 4th time. It'll be fun.
Yeah, and it'll at least for now be coexisting with things like Mad with Power, which they have different polls, different bands. The Mad with Power crowd I think is skews a lot younger and more on the power metal side of things, which I think kind of resonates more with me. But there's enough crossover between everything where it's we can all get along. I was tempted to wear a Mad with Power shirt to day 1, which is I think it was Nathan who screwed over Lords and inevitably created Mad with Power. So that would be funny.
I've heard that.
But oh well.
Yeah, but no, I'm excited to go to both festivals. Mad with Power, I really want to hear the other headliner, but yeah, both festivals look super solid. I'm gonna have a very busy summer next year.
Alrighty, well, thank you very much, Alice, for joining me on yet another ProgPower episode.
Thanks for inviting me again. I always enjoy these.
And for our audience, if you're into board games whose name ends in the word Haven, whether it be Gloom or Frost or otherwise, then you should check out Rage Badger Gaming, which is the premier YouTube channel for Haven game content.
Yeah, for the most Frosthaven videos out of anyone in the world.
the Gloomers, or I guess they're not Gloomers anymore. They're Frosters. That doesn't sound as fun.
None of it sounds. I said Sup Frosties once, and some people were like, "Oh no, I don't like that." I even got a Frosty prop. It's not great, but just gotta get laughs where you can. But no, it's Gloomhaven's wonderful. It has nothing to do with metal though.
Well, it should. In the meantime, everybody, thanks for listening and stay powerful.
Powerful.